What's up, y'all? Today I'm going to be giving you the basic Storm for Dummies guide, where I'm going to be going through all of the basics and going through a lot of the fundamentals of the game from scratch to show you how to get better and improve your fundamentals so that you can be a better player. Starting from the basics, things that normal people wouldn't really know and things that the tutorial doesn't really tell you. So let's get straight into it. If you guys definitely want more in-depth stuff after this guide, make sure you check out my channel where I have a playlist of certain techniques and things such as how to hollow step, infinite combos, item cancels, things like that to show you how to do things that are a little bit more advanced. But this is really just a basic guide to show you how to do the basic stuff such as switch tech, things anybody can really do and pick up after a couple of minutes of trying. So let's get straight into it. So starting out, the first thing I want to talk about is switching and the freedom of characters. So as you guys know, Naruto is a 3D based game and you have all this room and all this freedom to move around. But what people do tend to forget when they start the game is you're not limited to one character as you play. Now, what most people will tend to do when they start up a game and they get a nice combo going is they'll start to mash, they'll do their little combo, and they'll switch. Now that's excellent. If you're punishing your opponent and you want to do damage, and depending on the circumstances, that's great. But there's two things to note here. One, never be too quick to switch from one character to the next. The reason for this is your opponent can always call out their substitutions for one and punish you in between frames that you're unsafe from while switching. And two is because supports. You have to keep in mind that your opponent has supports, and unlike Storm 4, most supports in this game have armor. With armor in mind, they also made it to where most Jutsu saves in the game, which are your supports, also allow people to start combos from it. So if you're caught in a situation where you have no subs and you switch at the wrong time to start up your own combo and your opponent catches you with their support, there's a high chance that they can start a combo from it and do devastating to you while you were punishing them. You really don't want to get caught in those situations, and it's just generally not fun. Another interesting and cool thing that switching at the right time allows you to do is stop supports. So if someone calls out their support prematurely, you can switch at the right time and completely stop whatever their support was going to do. This stops a lot of OP supports like Shino and, your Hagoromos, your Hinatas. These are characters you're going to see a lot in ranked and player match. And it really just helps understand the timing of when you need to switch in order to stop people's support actions so that you don't get punished when it's your right turn. Now that we've gone over offensively switching in the right manner, we can talk about the freedom of switching before you connect a combo. Now, most people forget that you don't have to wait until you're connecting an attack to switch. That's just a mechanic in the game to really, again, help you punish people's early call out for supports and extend combos and switch when necessary. But you can also switch before you connect attacks. Perfect example of this is double dashing, and this is where the mechanics known as switch tech has come in. And this is something that has been in the game for quite a while, since Storm 3, I believe. I lied. Since Storm 4. This is something that's really been introduced in Storm 4, and it's really been advanced and played with throughout the years from me and other players alike who have found out different ways to use this and create new techniques that allow you to get advantages over your opponent and play defensively as well as offensively. It's very, very useful. One of the best switch techs that I think are in the game that aren't too useful in connections but were absolutely wonderful to use in Storm 4, which is double dashing. Double dashing allows you to send your support out while you are behind, and this allows you to get your support back. This allows you to get subs back. This allows you to kind of give yourself a little bit more time to think. And, it also helps you get out ultimates. So let's say your opponent has Nagato and they just throw out a roll ult, which was very common in Storm 4 to catch you in a trap. You could just throw your support in there and he'll get hit instead. And, you just have your normal cooldown. It'll get you out of a pinch. That's something that still applies to Storm Connections, although not as much, since Connections is more of a main character with support playstyle due to armor. But hopefully in the later patch they can fix that and we can get back to more neutral. But the bottom line is double dashing and being aware that you are not stuck to one character is extremely fundamental when understanding how to play the game on a basic level and to play mind games with your opponent to switch them up, and it generally allows you to play at a quicker speed nonetheless. Next, we can talk about damage scaling. Now, I know a lot of people, and this is including me on how I used to play, like to just hit that old circle button, and you want to just waste your entire chakra bar switching and mashing, one, you're just wasting damage scaling, because damage scaling does exist in this game, although it is questionable to what degree, I will admit. There is damage scaling. So if you're just wasting jutsu and you're dashing brainlessly and just pushing buttons, you're not going to be able to get optimal combos off. But if you pay very close attention, there are certain resets, there's certain attacks, and there's certain things that allow you to optimize your damage. And these things are all items mixing in supports with what you're doing. Infinites, grabs, tags, all of these have a very pivotal role in terms of damage scaling and figuring out how much damage you can do to your opponent before their subs come back and how fast you can do it. This all comes down to your general skill level, but as you can see, I did a lot of damage to my opponent without using too much chakra. And just like that, it's already coming back and it's pretty much full. Versus me just mashing my brains out and switching, pressing buttons, right? Next on movement list is learning how to cancel your chakra dashes. Now, this is something that's a little bit more advanced, but it's something that you can absolutely do easily by practicing. So, a lot of people see me play online in ranked, and they're like, bro, how the hell? I've dashed in front of people and stopped right in front. And most people online will obviously counter, because 95% of the time, if you're playing online and people are dashing you full screen, you can calculate when it's going to hit you and you can counter perfectly. But you want to really mess somebody up on ranked, and this is something that fundamentally will absolutely change the way that you play online and dominate matches, is learning how to cancel your dashes at any range, at any speed. So you can start off really far back at the back of the map and just gradually practice walking up to the opponent and pushing the block button, stopping in front of them. The closer you get, the harder this will get, but again, I encourage you to try and get it as close as possible as you can to your opponent. And do this over and over until you stop right in front of them. And, you know, it's like anything, you got to practice and you got to keep doing it until you get it. And eventually you're going to feel really good about it, because you're going to be able to play from this distance and stop right in front of dudes. And eventually you'll get to this distance and stop right in front of dudes. And before you know it, you'll be damn near where I'm at, you know, playing right here in front of dudes, stopping on them. And people are like, huh? How do you, you know, it's not as easy as it looks. And even I mess up at this distance, because again, it's hard to do. You know, this isn't something you just master or do. This stuff takes a lot of time. But I promise you, the more you practice it and the more you get it, you'll be able to stop right in front of dudes, you know, point blank. And most people, again, will be countering their ass off because they expect you to hit them. And in that situation, all you got to do is stop right in front of them and hit them with that grab tech. Or you could wait for their timer, for their counter to run out, and you could start a combo that way. I've caught plenty of people with that. You can throw items, and this is where your creativity as a casual comes in, where you can stop in front of them and throw a bomb, because you can't block that. If you're countering mid animation, you can't block that. You could throw a bomb, you could throw an item, you know, you could stop, bait them with support, start a combo. There's just really a lot of ways that this is one of my favorite fundamental techniques that you guys can definitely learn. And this isn't something that's advanced to the point where it's hard. Like I said, you start from the back of the map, you dash, and you block. The closer you get, the easier it'll get. The closer you get, the harder it'll get. But eventually you'll be able to master this technique, and you'll be able to catch people off guard online to the point where you're mixing them up. And once you start mixing them up, you'll be able to hop online and dominate without any problems whatsoever. So that's a lot of the basic techniques. There's a lot of more advanced stuff in Naruto Storm Connections that you can learn, such as the infinites, right? Because a lot of characters have things called infinites where you don't have to exactly wait for your crumble effect. And this is something I can briefly go into, but if you guys would like the full in-depth guide on how to use this, make sure you guys check out my playlist where I go over infinites, hollow steps, and things like that. These are things that are a little bit more advanced, but I'll mention it quickly anyway, because as a casual and someone just getting into the game, you absolutely need to know this. You're probably asking yourself, and you've seen this, why the hell can't I block? And this guy's been hitting me for 15 minutes straight and I don't have subs. Well, these are called infinites. Now, it's debatable whether or not Bandai intentionally, Sleazy 2 intentionally left these in the game, but I would like to think that they didn't take them out, so I imagine that they left them in on purpose. So with connections, there's two types of infinites. There's the crumble effect infinites, which is these hard states that you'll see almost every character have. Madara has two, right? And this allows you to continue with your opponent no matter what. These are in the game fundamentally guaranteed, right? And you can use these to ultimate, jutsu. There's a million things you can do with these crumble effects, but there's also something called infinites, and this is where it gets very interesting as a beginner player. When you practice with these characters, you're going to have to look for these small frames, and there's these frames with certain characters that allow you to continue without having a crumble. How is that possible? Well, this Naruto, Sage Naruto, for example, has an infinite in every single one of his attacks. This is something that I absolutely love them for doing because Sage Naruto is one of the only Narutos that I see absolutely nobody pick, and he is my go-to character. His first hit allows for an infinite. You cannot block this. For further proof of this, I can go to the AI, guard, when damaged. That basically means that if I am messing up and it's not a legit combo, the AI will block. As you can see, the AI cannot and will not block because this is guaranteed. You cannot block this. You can add combos, you can grab, you can literally do whatever you want. And this applies to this Naruto with every hit. And some of them require things that are a little bit more advanced, such as hollow stepping, which is what I'm doing now. And some of them are a lot more straightforward, like this one, where you just keep going. Now, as I said, each character in the game requires a certain level of practice for you to find these out. But what these infinites allow you to do is continue to scale, and it allows you to continue your attacks without having to wait so long for that crumble effect. Because even though they introduced infinites or official infinites into every character, they're not very optimal in certain situations where people have supports ready or when they're about to get their subs back. Nah, you want somebody to waste that support as soon as possible. So, you know, you got to get that damage in there. You got to get that tech in there. You know what I mean? And that's where infinites come in. And it's definitely something, again, if you want the full breakdown of what infinites are and how to use them on every character, I'm going to be doing weekly polls going forward. And, you know, for every character guide that I do, I will be showing infinites and how to use the characters' kits to their fullest. So that includes infinites, ultimates, hollow stepping, the 9, the kits, everything. Items, I got y'all covered. But that's basically the fundamentals and the beginning for something that I feel like casuals definitely need to learn about and understand. Because I've had plenty of rage quits from dudes on level 1, and they're like, bro, that's not fair. Like, why are you just, you know... Not Naruto specifically, but I've had other characters where I've done it and they'll just close out because why am I just getting hit infinitely and he's not doing the crumble effect? It has to be a glitch. It's not. It's in the game and it's something everybody in the game can pretty much do. You have to lab and figure them out, but I promise you guys, it's in there, and as a casual, as a beginner, it's something you absolutely should learn. And that's pretty much it for now in terms of all the fundamentals and things that you can learn in Storm Connections as a beginner guide for dummies. The guides do not tell you about stopping in front of people. The guides definitely do not tell you about infinites, and the guides really don't tell you about character switching on the level that I have shown you. I will go ahead and hop online right now and show you guys one match of me using every single one of these fundamentally, and I hope you guys can learn from the gameplay. I'll let you take it away. Okay, there's. fucking god. I've fallen. I can't believe I'm letting him get this far. It just shows my mental state isn't good. His brain's up. Literally see the lag.
That's enough!